Hey everyone, Red Rebel Jeff Jones here. 2025 has come to an end. So I think it's important to look back on the last 12 months to try and get a bit of perspective on what's happened in the last year. There have been some good points and some bad points, both politically and personally. So I'm going to go into my personal good points and bad points first. So just gonna go really quickly because I know you guys probably aren't as interested, but it's important to look back. First off, in February, I passed my driving test, which, yes, it took me several years to do it, but I finally did it. It's not an easy test, the Irish driving test. I think mostly because it doesn't really, there's quite a bit of it that doesn't make sense. Yeah, the Road Safety Authority needs to put a lot of work into that test to actually to make it mean what it's supposed to mean. Bad point. Probably would Probably my biggest bad point would be my medical issue that I had about a month ago. It was I got a kidney stone, and the pain of a kidney stone is not fun. I think it's easiest to say. Yeah, it stings a lot. I actually still have to get a surgery done on it, so hopefully that's going to take place soon. Yeah, it, that was a bit of a curveball. Another good point was and for those of you who know who've been with the channel since the very beginning, because I did mention this in one of my earliest videos where I talk about the Kaylee that I'm involved in. I help organize a Kaylee during the summer, to, which we teach a lot of a lot there's tourists, but also Irish people that live around the loch where we do it. It's great fun. We teach them the rules, and even if they get it wrong, it's a bit of crack. It's a bit of fun. So yeah, we won the Place of Pride Award for Creative Communities, which was a national award. Now we actually lost the regional award for Cork, so it's like we were nominated by someone in Cork City Council, but like I don't think we were expecting to win it, and when it came out, we won it. I was like, wow. So yeah, we got a night in City Hall where we were invited by the all the nominees were invited by the Lord Mayor and kind of have a night to kind of meet up and kind of get to know each other a bit better with the other nominees. And it actually came out with the Lord Mayor joining in with the musicians to play a bit of dance music. So that was fun. And last personal point I will say is the my trip to London, where myself and my dad we could sightsee quite a bit, and we did a lot. We went to the Tower of London, which I know the history of it, a good bit of the history of it, so I found that really fascinating. I also found a lot of the buildings that London is known for to be really, really interesting. Like there's Tower 42, there's the Gherkin, there's the Shard, the walkie-talkie, which I don't think looks like a walkie-talkie, but yeah, I think the story of the earlier issues with it, I think, is quite funny. Because it's a building that curves up, but what that was doing, that was reflecting the sun's light onto the ground, and it's so well that it was melting bits of cars on the ground. So they had to reglaze the whole side of the building to prevent it from doing that. Yeah, like London, I will say, is a fascinating place. I mean, like we saw Big Ben, we went on on the London Eye, um, went to Buckingham Palace. Oh, well, we didn't go in. We saw the outside of it. I kind of half regret not booking a tour of the inside, mainly because the outside wasn't that interesting. It's too much of a boxy building. I found. Yeah. So now that the personal stuff is out of the way, let's go politically. Trump had his first year of his second term in office as US president. I'm not gonna lie, I think he's done a pretty good job. Um, I get the sense he's been a bit rushed. Now, I think that's because he suspects that he's going to get hit during the midterms, like he did last time. So he's treating it as if he only has the 2 years, not the 4 years, to do what he wants to get done. And has he been a bit overly aggressive on stuff? I think you could make the argument on some things, yes, but overall, I think that that's gone in his favor. I think like the work he's done to actually achieve peace in a lot of areas of the world is something to be commended. And this is actually an interesting one, I will say, because with the Israel Hamas war, now I do think that agreement is probably the best agreement that you could have gotten. Now it's interesting that kind of Israel is people are going at Israel for breaking it when Hamas hasn't followed it particularly well themselves. Like one of the best examples is the hostages. All the hostages were meant to be back in 72 hours, both living and dead. They're still not all back. There's one still left in Gaza. Now Hamas are saying they don't know where they are. I find that quite difficult to believe, but that's another story. I think the work that the Trump administration has gone to try to achieve peace in the Russia-Ukraine war, I think is commendable. I do think the issue there, though, is that I don't. I think Putin is just kind of the, not that he's stalling. He's just trying. He's just wasting everyone's time. I think, but it's a lot better to the way like the EU and all the other countries have gone to support Ukraine because they're just giving them like the weapons and the funding to keep defending themselves in the war, but that won't get them anywhere in terms of ending it. I think the US effort is, I think, the only actual effort to end the war. And that's actually annoyed the EU, which is always a good thing in my opinion, because the EU are kind of overinflated in their own importance, which they're not that important at the end of the day, I don't think. But yeah, it's because they're annoyed that they're not part of the talks, like they're not considered a major player in them. So yeah, that there's still a lot of work there, but it's interesting to follow it. The UK has gone to pot, I think it's safe to say, mainly because Keir Starmer has really shown himself to be a bit authoritarian with his online. censorship of the what was it, the Online Abuse Act, is it called? Which has basically just been an excuse to censor people he doesn't like. It was labeled as to protect children, but that's not what it's being used for. You have the BBC showing themselves up to be even bigger liars than a lot of people thought they were, especially with the whole Trump thing. So that's an interesting one. And and they got caught out because you can't splice two clips 54 minutes apart and label it as a mistake. Like that's deliberate. And they did it to make him say something that he didn't say. So Trump is suing them. Again, that's going to be quite interesting because whether whether the BBC deliberately did that is not a question. They did deliberately mislead the British public with that. Did Trump receive any damage from it? A lot of people say no because he won the election. Has it damaged his reputation in the UK? Probably. So I think that's kind of he's like the BBC are definitely guilty of deliberately lying about Trump. Whether anything will come out of it in terms of damages, I'm not sure. Politics in Ireland, it's pretty much been the same old, same old. Um, Incompetence, particularly around the use of taxpayer money, which they were never really good at in the first place. Um, Mostly political point scoring in the Dáil. Yeah, it's and that's kind of the reason why I don't pay that much attention to Irish politics because it's so not even boring, but it is boring as well. It's nothing really comes of it. It's just political point scoring. Like if things were done properly, I'd probably be more interested, but they're not. I mean, like it's almost a waste of time. I think the biggest story has been the murder of Charlie Kirk and the damage that that has done to the conservative movement. Now, I will say, I don't think people realised how much of a glue Charlie Kirk was to the movement until after he was killed. Now, for those of you who are waiting, I am planning to do a follow up video regarding the Candace Owens conspiracy theories because I think quite a few people didn't actually get what I was saying in some of them. That's neither here nor there, I guess. But yeah, I will do a follow up video just to respond to some of the response I got, some of the comments. I think what happened with Charlie Kirk will take a long, long time for the conservative movement to recover from. Now, it's also damaged the left as well because it has really shown their hatred for people they disagree with, particularly when they celebrated his death. One question is where do we go from here after his death? I'm not sure. The conservative movement will definitely right itself. I think it'll take a little bit of time to do that, but it definitely will, because I think right is on our side. I think when it comes to Turning Point USA, I think Erica Kirk has work to do, and so far, I think she's been a little too focused on the aftermath of Charlie Kirk's death, which is 100% understandable. So I'm not criticizing her really for that, but it has been quite detrimental to continuing the message that Charlie Kirk brought. Now, she has stated that Turning Point will continue the campus events, which hopefully they do, and hopefully they get back into them sooner rather than later. Because I think that's how you honor Charlie Kirk's legacy, because that's what he did, and that's what made him effective. But yeah, there's quite a few unknowns with that. 2025 was an interesting year, full of good points and bad points. I think 2026 is going to be just as interesting, if not more. I'm not entirely sure what 2026 is going to bring, but whatever it brings, I know the conservative movement will continue and it'll get stronger and stronger. Because we are on the side of right, we are on the side of facts, of truth, and it's important that we don't forget that. Happy New Year, everyone. I look forward to it.